Welcome to the tutorial of an infrastructure trial for the PARCC assessment. What is an infrastructure trial? It's an opportunity for school test coordinators, administrators, proctors, and students to prepare for the computer-based PARCC assessment that will be administered in March. This will help to determine any school or computer issues and to confirm all testing devices are properly configured and ready to run PARCC assessments in March. The infrastructure trial also provides an opportunity to introduce students to the TestNav testing interface through the online test content. Unlike a live assessment, you will not use real student information. Instead, you will use created sample students in the PARCC Next training site. So to summarize, the infrastructure trial is a dress rehearsal to confirm that TestNav is configured correctly, devices can successfully run TestNav, networks will bear the full load, participating staff know what to do for the PARCC computer-based assessment administered in March, and students are familiar with the computer-based tools and format. So let's get this started. First, you want to log into the PARCC Next Training Center at http://trng.pearsonaccessnext.com. And so what you see in front of you is what should happen when you type in that website. Then click Sign In. Type in your password and your username. If you forgot your password, just hit Forget Password and it will be prompted to your email. And then you'll see this interface. So go to the Testing tab up top. You can also go here on the other side of Testing. And there will be a drop-down menu. Click on Students and Sessions. Then you will see a session list and it will say Add in the box. Click on that and start typing the appropriate session name. So mine was Karen Infra, so I just started typing in KA and it started giving me a drop-down menu of different sessions that were already created. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my session name that I named. And here you'll see all types of details. So the session details that are here on the right-hand side of your session list will appear throughout the entire testing session. When you scroll down, you should be able to see all of the students generated for this session in the infrastructure trial. Click on the green Start in the session details screen. You will know you have done this correctly because you will see a red stop button that you can use to stop the session. So that's your part to start with. So you would stop right there. Then when your students arrive, you'd have the students log into the computer using the following username and password. The username will be PARCC and the number will be provided by your test coordinator that day when you do the infrastructure trial. The password will be PARCC15, PARCC15. The students are not to log into the test until instructed by you. We do not want them to log in the test because we want them to click the audio test first. So the headphones should already be plugged in, and they're going to check the volume by hitting the Click to Test Audio. And they're going to click on the volume icon in the lower right-hand corner to adjust the volume to what best suits them. After students have adjusted the volume, then you will distribute the testing tickets. On the testing ticket, students will find two things, the username and password. Please have them sign in using the correct username and password from their testing ticket. If students aren't able to sign in, please check to make sure that they have spelled or used the right numbers for the password. After all students have signed in, you will go ahead and read the script on page 42 in the infrastructure trial guide. I'll go ahead and start reading that for you though. Read only the bold instructions in each say box to students. Text that is outside the say box and is unbolded text are directions for test administrators to follow and should not be read to students. So after the students have signed in and tested the audio, you would say the following. Today you are going to take a test. This test introduces you to the tools and the format of the computer-based test questions. Now type the test code exactly shown as your student testing ticket. Now select the Sign In button. You should see a welcome screen. Do not proceed past the welcome screen. As a test administrator, circulate throughout the room to make sure all students have successfully logged in. Then say, once you're on the welcome screen, click Start Test Now to proceed. During the course of answering sample questions, take some time to use each tool found at the top of the screen. You can navigate to the next question by clicking the arrow buttons in the top left corner of the screen. Does anyone have any questions about how to navigate between questions? As a test administrator, I also encourage you to allow your students to ask questions about the tools through any point of this infrastructure trial. Because the day of testing in March, if students have questions about the toolbars, functions, you cannot help them. Then say, when you reach the end, click Submit Final Answers. You will have 30 minutes to complete the test. Now begin working. So as the test administrator, you're going to walk around the room and assist others to complete the infrastructure trial. However, you need to understand the functioning of the toolbar. So if you take a look up here, you'll notice how many students you have testing. So in my infrastructure trial, I have 60 students testing. And you'll notice that when you scroll down and see the students' names, they have different statuses. And these are important to know throughout the testing infrastructure trial and throughout the testing in March. So as you look at the roster in your test session, there are possible student statuses. The first status that could be possible that a student will have next to their name is ready. Ready means that the student has not logged into the session yet. For the infrastructure trial, these are probably extra students generated for the trial. The next student status key you will see is active. This means that the student is currently in the test. Another student status key is exited. Exited means that the student has exited the session but has not submitted his or her responses yet. Students in exited status will need to be resumed by a test administrator to re-enter the test. Another student test key is completed. Completed means that the student has completed the test and has successfully submitted his or her responses. Another one is marked complete. Marked complete means that the student's test has been marked complete by the test administrator rather than being submitted through TestNav. Another one is resumed. Resumed means that the student is ready to log back into the session. And lastly, resumed upload. Resumed upload means the student is ready to log back into the session and some responses were not sent to Pearson servers before exiting. Students will be prompted to have saved responses uploaded before resuming the test. If a student logs out of the session at any point before the test is completed, the student will need to be resumed before the student can log in again. To remember what these student status keys mean and their descriptions, follow page 34 in the Infrastructure Trial Guide. As the test administrator, you have to understand the dashboard and those student status keys and how to help students get back into a test. So let's experiment. Let's say that a student has exited the test by accident. You then need to go ahead and resume that student's test. So what you would do is you would find the student's name, you would click on the left-hand side to make sure you've clicked on that specific student. Then you're going to scroll back up, click on Select Tasks, and there will be a drop-down menu. From Select Tasks, you want to click on Resume Student Test. Then click Start, the blue button. Then click Resume at the bottom, and now your student has returned back into the test again. After you have resumed the student from your dashboard, have the student log back into the test again. Now you've learned a little bit about the dashboard. At the end of the 30-minute testing window, any student who has submitted final answers will show up with a status of complete in your test session roster. Any student who has not finished a test, just have them exit the test by clicking in the blue icon of the person in the top right-hand corner of the screen, and then select Exit. Reassure the student that it is okay that he or she did not finish the test, that this is for practice only. No one will be looking at the scores. Then collect the student test tickets and release the students from the classroom. When you are done, please go to the PARCC board under the Staff Center and click on Infrastructure Trial Guide, and you're going to click on the survey link. In the survey link, it's very important that you complete the following: the room number, the session, and exactly what was wrong as you were doing this infrastructure trial, especially if there were computer issues. And throughout this infrastructure trial, remember that you were given a communication plan. So if something happens to a student's computer, look at your communication plan, and if it's something that you cannot troubleshoot, you will then use the extension, and you will use the classroom phone, not a cell phone, and contact your school test coordinator. If your school test coordinator cannot troubleshoot this problem, then they will call Terry Nikowski or Val or Karen. So please make sure that you are using this communication plan. But at the end of your infrastructure trial, it is very important that you complete the survey. Because as previously stated when we started this tutorial, this trial run is to make sure that we get out all of the glitches before March, to make sure that all students are going to sign in and we will have as few errors as possible. If you have any further questions, please call Karen at 856-429-5600, extension 4433. Thank you so much for taking part in the infrastructure trial. We truly appreciate you being part of the Cherry Hill Park team.